Now today is going to be a bit of a different video from what I usually make on this channel. Kinda like the Sharia law rant I did nearly a year ago, which was one of the only videos to be unrelated to my commentaries, local archives and reviews. And of course my animated shit I've made. Which, that video was most likely political than anything else, and this video today is something kind of like that. Now, I'm not doing this overdone Paul Joseph Watson anti-SJW videos that's mostly overdone on YouTube these days.
Today, I'm going to be discussing a video by Paul Joseph Watson.
Well, imagine my shock.
Some of their politics I do agree and disagree about. Today I'm talking about censorship and how it affects everyone else when it comes to offensive jokes and art in particular, or mostly severe of all, getting arrested by the police for doing exactly that. A good example would be the whole Nazi pug case with YouTuber Count Dankula. Around 2016, Count Dankula was arrested for hate crime whilst he posted a joke video of his pug lifting its paw and hailing Hitler. No, I'm not kidding.
My girlfriend is always ranting and raving about how cute and adorable her wee dog is, and so I thought I would turn them into the least cute thing that I could think of, which is a Nazi. Buddha, do you want to gas the juice? Gas the juice? Jews. See, Kyle. Jews.
In case you want to know the full story of his arrest, just go watch his Nazi pug updates videos and the interview he did with Alex Jones. Just in case you want to know the full story of what's happening with Mark, since I'm pretty much sure some of my viewers know the whole story by now. Otherwise, I'll be regurgitating the same old shit that everybody else and their fucking mother has already said, which I don't want to do. Even to this day, Count Dankula is still being dragged through court. 2 fucking years since this shit's been going on. Recently around this court case in January, the court decided that he could possibly be going to prison for maybe a year or 5 years.
The first thing was the prosecutor tried to change what my original charge was to something more severe, where instead of my maximum sentence being 1 year in prison, my maximum sentence would have instead been 5 years in prison. The judge refused this request.
Holy fucking shit. Since this has happened, he couldn't get work from anywhere since he had criminal charges pending. He got fired from his permanent job, so I'm guessing he's doing some other low-paying job or maybe on benefits. Now, when shit like this happens to people who make offensive jokes on or offline, that's when I start to question, what the fuck has the internet come to nowadays? Commentary channels to Reddit tier memes like, this video here, but every time insert name here says something, insert video name here goes faster. But more likely, what the fuck is the government even doing anymore? Arresting people for making offensive jokes on the internet all because some 50 to 60 year old who doesn't understand the internet thinks he or she could file reports on people for making some offensive joke video? Or your offensive cartoon, or even a tweet that's criticizing Islam or the LGBT community without violent intent. That's when I look at stuff like this, and it just makes me want to lose my will to live, when the UK is censoring and prosecuting people for making fucking tweets and ruining their lives so they cannot get work anymore. Good examples would be the whole Paul Chambers case back in 2012, when he made a joke tweet saying that he was going to blow up an airport. I mean, I'll admit it's kind of dumb, but still, I don't think he should have been arrested for it. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. But internet policing has gotten worse and worse since then, and after arresting a 19-year-old League of Legends player for posting an offensive joke back in 2013.
But once I go and read this to you word for word, I'm pretty sure anybody, even the fucking people that cannot grasp, understand, or even fucking get sarcasm would go, Yeah, I'm like 100% certain he didn't actually mean what he was saying. So, here's what Justin said in response to the fucking retard calling him insane. He said, and I quote, "Oh yeah, I'm real messed up in the head. I'm going to go shoot up a school full of kids and eat their still beating hearts." After that, he said LOL and JK, so laughing out loud and just kidding. After this was said...
Now, when it comes to offensive humour, I have a dark sense of humour myself. And you will know that by watching my videos, that I like to do the dark and witty and stupid humour. I mean, who doesn't have a dark sense of humour? I mean, the whole point of comedy is to push the boundaries and cross the line without limits. But what you mustn't forget is that the intent of a joke is to generate a laugh. And in the another analysis, a joke is a cathartic way of dealing with horrible subjects, ergo, and gallows humour. That's basically what dark humour is in a nutshell. Pushing the limits and making a joke about something that's serious. I mean, it shouldn't be fucking rocket science to explain why it's funny. Take 4chan and 8chan for example, with their irony and fucked up sense of humour. I mean, I don't go on 8chan, but still. Now I get it. Stuff like that isn't for everyone, and yes, there is a time and place for stuff like that. That's why we post it on the internet or even a funny video. Sure, people might get offended. I mean, like, yeah, sure, it's their opinion, and they have the right to freedom of speech to complain as much as we do. If anybody wants to claim that they're offended and complain, whatever. But as soon as you get the law involved, that's when you shoot down the slippery slope. I mean, imagine this autistic retard who never goes outside and watches Rick and Morty wearing diapers. Let's say if you made a joke about him, or even the video making fun of him, by making fun of autists. He would be a perfect example of an autist that you pissed off, to the point that he'll be filing a false report to the police onto you to make sure that you go downtown and get raped by Big Bubba in a prison cell.
The police themselves also state that they do not need to prove that what you said or what you did came from a place of hatred. The only thing that matters is their and the victim's perception of what you said or did. It might sound absolutely ridiculous to claim that the police have adopted the feels over reals approach, but this is specifically what they are instructed to do by their own hate crime operational guidance handbook that they all have to follow. We now live in an age where, when it comes to law, the context, intent, and truth of your actions no longer matter. The only thing that matters is the victim's perception and the police's perception of your actions. And the victim's clearly someone that you've pissed off. Someone who is more than happy to lie through their teeth to the police, saying a bunch of shit about how offended and distraught and victimised they were, just to really make sure that the police fuck you. And the scary precedent that sets is when it comes to certain races, religions, or sexualities, the hate crime laws aren't applied equally, are they?
Now, you know what this means? This means that if anyone made an offensive joke or video, the only thing that matters to the police and the victim is their perception of what you did. Since the context of your actions do not matter, nevertheless that you've done nothing wrong and you feel like you haven't even broken any laws in any way, but fuck that. I mean, real crimes do not matter. I mean, only hate speech on the internet and offensive animated videos are the real crimes here. Fuck rape and murder and pedophilia. But seriously, go back to dealing with a real crime, Mr. Police Officers. Or better yet, put your buck on and cover up. Even though they're telling an offensive joke or not, criticism over race, religion, sexuality and disability is something that you would want to do. But you can't because apparently it's hate speech. And when it comes to hate speech laws in the UK, they're a really big problem. Even as somebody on Twitter ironically said in his bio, "Fuck niggers" with a swastika as his profile avatar. Oh wait, please go out the door, all because I joked about being a Nazi on Twitter. Even though that I have nothing against anybody's race, religion, gender, or disability. Depending on how much of a downer you are, anyway.
I got exposed for doing sexual roleplay with a minor on Discord. It was not with a 13, I did it with an 8 and 9-year-old.
Okay,
Yeah.
Drew, I just let her in. She's like 8 years old! She's not playing! She's 8!
If the police think that this is going to reduce terrorist attacks and hate speech, then they're fucking wrong. And it just makes you want to do it more. So around January, there was a petition to revoke hate speech laws and stop people from being arrested on or offline for what they're saying. So far, the government has responded with a message of contradictory and doublespeak. And yet to this day, the petition still needs 100,000 signs in order to go to Parliament. Normally, I don't agree with racism in any way, but when it comes to hate speech is free speech, I'm sorry. And even if the person was a Nazi, I really wouldn't give a shit unless the video was hurting someone. And freedom of speech is something I strongly stand by. Normally when you post shit online, such as a tweet, a funny video, whatever it be, an animation or live action, you never know what you could be doing could be illegal because everyone's getting arrested for random shit nowadays, such as posting a video of your dog being a Nazi, which is apparently classified as a hate crime. I mean, the cops don't give you any examples on what you should avoid. Normally it's the whole, don't make a funny video about joking about pedos and Nazis, or else that's going to make people Nazis and want to fuck kids. You really think that listening to a Moon Man song, or making a Moon Man song, is going to encourage others to actually take what's being said unironically and going out and shooting black people? Sometimes it can be the whole comparison to, don't make funny videos with blood and gore, or else it's going to turn you into a murderer, because when you see 10 horror movies, you get used to it. Oh, if I watch violent movies and enjoy them, stuff like Serbian film and Kill Bill, you think that's going to make me go out and think, man, I really want to commit a mass homicide right now and eat babies and sacrifice them? That's like saying that games like Manhunt and Postal 2 encourage you to go out and kill people. So yeah, let's ban all violent video games and movies because they're making people have violent thoughts and shit. Like, how black and white do you have to be to come up with something like that? I mean, if you really are going by that logic, then you're factually retarded. I mean, if somebody would go out and do all this shit, then they'd most likely be mentally unstable or just a plain retarded kid who gets his applesauce money stolen at school. Well, but I mean, not single boys. I think everybody will be mature enough to watch these movies without the British government babysitting everyone from what they can or can't watch, which was a problem with the moral panic of the video Nazis from the late 1970s to early 80s. I mean, if that shit's apparently illegal, then I guess 95% of crude offensive videos on the internet and on Newgrounds are illegal because they're obscene and horrible. Man, the person who made this must be sick in the head. Or well, better arrest them before they make any more offensive cartoons with dead baby jokes and making fun of pedophiles. I mean, that's a no-no. Like, you're just a bigot since you're just making fun of people who want to fucking 8-year-old them in the arse. LGBTP, bitch. Again, we need to make fun of subjects like this. It may not be a cup of tea, I totally get that, but to deplatform others and take down pages for making jokes is not right. I mean, it's just called being human. We all want to make dead baby jokes and make memes out of Jimmy Savile. We all want to make fucked up shit from time to time. It's fun to make 9/11 and ISIS and Columbine and Sandy Hook jokes. If you think that we're promoting horrible things and laughing at victims who died during these events or celebrating the fact that Jimmy Savile raped kids, we're making jokes about these things, which again helps deal with serious subjects such as these. I mean, I like to keep Jimmy Savile as a running gag in my videos at times, but if Jimmy Savile was alive today, honestly speaking, and he actually stumbled across my videos, he would hate them. I don't think any paedophile would like them because those are the people that are being mocked for their crimes. Also, it's just to make us laugh at the end of the day. We all want to do this without the fear of getting arrested for it, unless if you're doing something illegal such as actual child pornography or snuff film, shit that you shouldn't be watching. Normally autistic nerds on the internet will look at something like this and reply with, "Wee! This shouldn't exist! I need to flag down this video and report it to the police!" But normally with the internet and in real life, everything exists. Shock videos exist. A fucked up cartoon of a priest trying to fuck a kid on Newgrounds exists. Even fetish art on DeviantArt exists. I think it shouldn't exist, but I'm not gonna flag him down for making it since I would be thought-policing people, which would go against what I believe. Or even illegal shit on the internet that gets taken down by the police exists, such as child porn on the dark web and snuff films. Yeah, no fucking shit. It makes you wonder if a similar case to Mike Diana, an artist arrested in the mid-90s for drawing obscene art with blood and gore and drawing sex in a positive way. I'll leave a link to Ben's video in the description, since to be honest, I have to agree with him on this video. But normally when it comes to shit like Lolicon out of all things, oh boy, that's a really hard one to defend.
I don't see a problem with Lolicon.
Like, normally along with everybody else, I would say that Lolicon shouldn't exist. Fair point. But still, it would go against what I believe, and I don't want to be thought-policing people. But what's very concerning is that you have artists such as Ben the Looney and Shanman drawing Lolicon, or saying that they age them up so they could be fuckable to them. Now, I can assume at the top of my head that most pedophiles would use the aging up excuse in order to draw porn of that said character. Examples would be Lisa Simpson or Mandy from Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. I don't want that shit in my Discord server, but still. I have mixed feelings on the subject. If you're going to be drawing shit like that, then you are a weirdo, since you're wanting to age a kid up just so you can have sex with him. And let alone, why the fuck would you want to do that to a kid in the first place? Sometimes people like Shad, who got arrested years ago for drawing, would make arguments that it helps pedophiles kill themselves and stay away from kids.
However, it doesn't mean it made him or her into a pedophile because they were already disturbed to begin with. If anything, it's good when actual pedophiles get into lolly stuff, because that means no real kids are getting harmed, and it keeps them away from the real stuff. Similar to how people with anger problems can get their frustrations out in video games.
But what I do gather is that stuff like that would encourage pedophilia in real life, which again is very likely.
If you have to be sat down and explain the difference between depicting someone getting shot in a movie and someone drawing Rule 34 of Maggie Simpson getting fucked in the ass by Tommy Pickles, then you're a lost cause. The difference is that there's a clear sexual arousal to that. If they weren't sexually aroused to the idea of kids being in sexual situations, they wouldn't be beaten off to lolly porn. Clearly there's something about kids being in sexual situations that excites them, and they find it interesting sexually. They're getting off to it sexually. That's why people have an issue with it. That's why people think it's fucked up. The fact that there's people out there that are actually masturbating to this type of stuff. And plus, if we want to really explore this, there's a bit of a difference between someone getting violent thoughts or maybe passively saying, I want to murder someone, as opposed to turning and saying, man, I really want to fuck that kid right now. Can you sort of see that there's a bit of a difference there, and that you're comparing apples to oranges right now?
But at the same time, and I know I might get a bit of hate for saying this, but they're just drawings on paper. They're not harming or hurting anyone. Yeah, they're gonna get hate and criticism nonetheless, but I've heard that many people have been wanting to get Ben the Looney and Shanman arrested and doxxed. I know that they draw Lollipop, but for fuck's sake, people, they don't need to be arrested and put in prison for it. Don't you think that's a bit much? Well, unless if they're going out and harming kids, then I'll agree, but that's another story. But you guys might be assuming that I'm defending them both. Well, maybe, but I think Shanman's a good artist, but I just wish that he didn't make Lolicon and Shotacon most of the time. I think Ben the Looney is a fucking idiot and a spurg who doesn't know what he's talking about in this video, since the argument to defend Lolicon was pretty shit at best, since Lolicon is illegal both in the US and the UK. Answers can be found with a quick Google search. In the UK, it states that it's illegal in its entirety. With the US laws, there's a bit of a grey area. All I know in America is that it's only legal state by state, and most of the time it's all about having your drawing that would have to be something undistinguished from a real life child. That's why cartoon characters are usually scot-free, such as in TV shows like Big Mouth, which I'm curious to why that's still legal on Netflix, and South Park. But what if you're not drawing it for pedos to whack off to? For the sake of arguing, what if you're making a dark comedy or a serious horror film, for example Serbian film, when there's a child being harmed for shock value or a laugh? I don't see why you want to draw something like that, but it really depends on the context. I'm not going to argue that there's a limit, but let's say for the sake of arguing, somebody was going to draw that one panel from that Japanese guru comic, Mai-chan's Daily Life, when the guy was having sex with a baby and yelling, baby fuck, it's alright, or baby fuck, it's alright. Now, I find stuff like that funny due to how wrong it is, because I'm totally not a horrible person for laughing at something like this, am I right? But it's the risk of doing it that matters, and for legal reasons I'm not showing the panel. You can look it up yourself if you really want to. Even ED has a page on it. Now, stuff like that would be illegal to draw, referring to back to the screenshot that I took of the Wikipedia article. Lolicon or not, it's still illegal to have it on your computer. As we all know, it's legal in Japan, but again, at times, there's a grey area, even with UK and US laws. I mean, let's say if somebody was going to do a dead baby scene, or anything risky off-screen, such as Quentin Tarantino, swinging his katana at a baby whilst it's crying and blood is squirting, to stay on the safe side. You would have to do all of that shit off-screen so it's not porn. Or do it in a way that's not showing a dude banging a fucking kid in the butt, or what. But maybe do it in a way of how a Serbian film did it maybe. Or not. But yet again, that raises the question to why that one kiddie porn sex scene was in Where the Dead Go to Die, an actual movie that was sold underground and on store shelves. But hey, what the fuck do I know? Anyways, I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm feeling uncomfortable talking about fucking Lolicon out of all things. I need a fucking drink. This has been Chamber of Reavers, and I hope to see you fucking nerds in the near future. Bye, motherfuckers. And also, here's a picture of a dead baby in the clown costume.